Joining me is Nationals frontbencher Barnaby Joyce, the former Deputy Prime Minister and our Thursday regular guest. Barnaby, lovely to see you again. Hey, most of this money is to replace the Liddell coal-fired power plant in New South Wales, which has just been shut, with solar power in the area. The $1 billion comes on top of the more than $40 billion already promised by Labor to make Australia supposedly a renewable energy superpower. Is this a good idea, subsidising businesses already backed by billionaires?
I always say that they're not wind farms. They're not even wind factories. They're swindle factories where we get walked over and, ladies and gentlemen, you get ripped off, absolutely ripped off. So now you've got renewable energy credits, you've got power purchasing agreements, you've got deemed rates of return, secret agreements between the governments and the proponents of these swindle factories. It's all secret. We don't see it. They get a return whether they produce power or not. And now on top of that, they're actually going to subsidise the mechanism for the swindle. They're going to subsidise the construction of the solar panels. Now, the Hunter Valley is a very interesting place because offshore of Port Stephens, we have a new swindle factory going in out there. A lot of very, very, very unhappy people at Port Stephens. A lot of very, very, very unhappy people in the Hunter Valley. And I hear the Prime Minister and I think the enlightened Minister Bowen are going up to announce this swindle factory. So I say to the people of Port Stephens and to the New England, go down and say good day to them. Go and say and tell them how happy you are about the tens of thousands of kilometres of transmission lines, the filth of cobwebs going all over the countryside, the nature-killing wind turbines in the swindle factories, the carpeting of black over our environment with solar factories. Go and tell. Because, see, Minister Bowen thinks it's great. He thinks you're really happy being ripped off and really happy destroying your environment. He thinks this is a great idea. In fact, it's such a great idea, he's going to give Malcolm Turnbull and Mike Cannon-Brookes a little bit of a handout with $1 billion of your cash.
Yeah, but you know, what really upsets me, well, it makes me question this particular way of doing business, Barnaby. We saw the Rudd government subsidise, for instance, geothermal plants. Tim Flannery said it was a mozza. It went bust. They cancelled it. They subsidised also wave generators. That was going to be a new frontier. Two of them crashed or sank, and one in project in Western Australia also flopped. I mean, now today the Prime Minister's asked if these panels that we're going to be helping to subsidise would be cheap enough and good enough for Australians to buy them instead of the cheap Chinese ones we use instead. Here's his answer.
These are the most efficient solar panels in the world. These are good products. They will last for longer. They will be commercially available, and we are very confident that Australians will have Australian panels on their roofs.
Now, Barnaby, if they're that great, these products, why do taxpayers need to subsidise them? Turnbull and Cannon-Brookes, they can, put this to market.
Andrew, they've learned from their previous swindles. They've got this one worked out. Not only is the swindle in the subsidisation now of the new swindle factory creating solar panels, we've got the swindle factories that you see all over your countryside and out to sea, but they've made it so you have to purchase power in 5-minute blocks. You can sell power in 5-minute blocks. It's like selling you the air to breathe in 5-minute blocks. And of course, sometimes the air is really cheap, but if there's no air around, it's a bit uncomfortable. And when that happens, the price of air, in this case, the price of power, goes through the roof. And that's exactly what they want. See, they don't have to supply power for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. They just have to supply it for 5 minutes. And what a marvellous swindle market to back up your swindle factory.
It drives me nuts. As soon as governments pick winners, particularly in this area, it's politics first, business second. You've got no idea what's going to happen with our money. By the way, Barnaby, a big win and give credit to the government for this. China is dropping its ban on our wine. So Albanese was saying, look, we might be able to sell $1 billion of wine to China now. All that's good for wine growers, I know that. But the one thing that concerns me about all these trade deals that, or the agreements that the government's making now with China to drop the bans it imposed on us for being cheeky about, speaking up for democracy, makes us even more economically dependent on China, which gives China a bigger stick to beat us next time. That's the one problem I have with all this focus on let's increase, drop these trade bans.
Well, I think it's not only that, you should have a look at some of the other things. When you see a deal, there's two sides to it, Andrew, and we now find out that we get to import, they get to sell us more of the swindle towers for the swindle factories. They're the so-called wind towers. They come in from China, and we've sort of straightened things out there. We've also got rid of ASIO and ACIS out of the National Security Committee, because who'd want to have ASIO and ACIS who do issues such as the protection of our nation? Why on earth would you have them in the National Security Committee? So they've been kicked out, and we can kind of stop saying that the problems in the South China Sea and the reason we're going into AUKUS has got anything to do with China. See, it's actually that we're threatened by Fiji or New Zealand, or have a little bit of concern about what might turn up from the Antarctic. It's got nothing to do with China anymore. See, and we've just made a few of these changes, and we're starting to learn how to basically do what we're told, and for that we're exporting our wine, and to export our wine's great, but make no mistake about it, it came as part of a package, it came as part of a deal.
Well, I'm just worried about our economic dependence on China. It was already far, far, far too high. That's made governments too scared to say much to China. Now it's even more, but there you go. Good news, though, for winemakers. I know that, but still. Barnaby Joyce, thank you so much indeed for your time.